Hello, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World. I'm your host, Michma Bersang. On the News Mongolia today, Deputy Speaker of the State Great Hall delivers a speech at the IPU Assembly. Peer bullying is now increasingly taking place in the digital space, manifesting through insults, criticism, and online shaming. A total of 655,000 hectares of land are to be cultivated this spring. For the news, stay tuned. The Deputy Speaker of the State Great Hall, Bolgontaya Hurbatar, highlighted Mongolia's commitment to inclusive governance, justice, and human rights during her speech at the 150th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union in Tashkent. Addressing over 1,700 delegates from 140 countries, she presented Mongolia's 2024 to 2028 strategic plan and emphasized the recent constitutional reforms, expanded the women's representation, and the efforts to build a corruption-free, citizen-focused parliament.
The Deputy Speaker of the State Great Hall of Mongolia delivered her speech at the general debate of the 150th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union held on April 5th to 9th, 2025 in Tashkent, the capital of the Republic of Uzbekistan. More than 90 discussions and subsessions took place during the assembly, attended by more than 1,700 representatives from 140 countries. Deputy Speaker of Parliament Bolgontaya delivered her speech during the general debate held under the theme Parliamentary Action for Social Development and Justice, and noted that a parliament that respects equality and ensures multi-stakeholder participation plays an important role in accelerating social development and establishing justice. The Deputy Speaker emphasized that the conditions for improving the representative capacity of the Parliament of Mongolia were created within the framework of the amendments made to the Constitution of Mongolia in 2023. As a result, 32 women members of parliament were elected in the newly established 126-member parliament in 2024. Furthermore, the Deputy Speaker emphasized that the Parliament of Mongolia, which ensures diverse participation of social groups, put forward 5 main goals in its strategic plan for 2024 to 2028, based on the legal principle of upholding human rights. Deputy Speaker Bolgontaya noted that within the framework of the strategic plan for 2024 to 2028, the State Great Hall aims to become a parliament that prioritizes the interests of citizens, emphasizes the quality of legislation, respects pluralism, and proposes scientific solutions. Introducing the main targets reflected in the action plan for 2024 to 2028 of the government of Mongolia, the Deputy Speaker emphasized that the government is working to strengthen corruption-free e-governance, improve government productivity, and start process re-engineering at all levels. As a result, it is possible to jointly solve problems such as corruption, bureaucracy, and human rights violations by intensifying comprehensive and interconnected activities of the legislative and executive branches. Concluding her speech, Deputy Speaker Bolgontaya expressed her confidence in actively cooperate and exchange experiences with the IPU and its member states to ensure the implementation of the 2024 to 2028 strategic plan, accelerate social development, and establish justice.
Online bullying is surging among Mongolian teens, with 87% of children on social media facing some sort of harassment, often unnoticed by parents, as insults and shaming spread rapidly through digital platforms like Facebook and anonymous apps.
In Mongolia, 84% of the population and 77% of rural residents use Facebook. This highlights the high level of digital activity in the country. Not only adults, but also children are active on social media. According to a survey, 50% of children aged 7 to 12 and 77% of those aged 13 to 18 use Facebook. Among all children using social media, 87% have experienced some form of online attack. Over the past 5 years, digital usage, particularly among adolescents, has sharply increased. Students in middle and high school have begun using social networks to publicly insult or shame one another, often judging each other based on physical appearance, inflicting psychological pressure to the point of affecting mental well-being. Although they know such behavior is wrong, bullying continues to occur in subtle, often hidden forms even today.
Although they're not physically hitting each other, when someone targets another's emotions and mental well-being, it's terrifying. It's hard for children. These days, it's become so easy to open your phone and start insulting someone just like that. Everyone knows bullying is bad, but when others see someone being bullied and nothing happens, they start thinking it's okay. That's when they go, well, if they can do it, so can I. That's where the behavior stems from, I think.
91% of parents who are supposed to be responsible for monitoring their children believe their children have not been subjected to online attacks. This statistic clearly shows that most parents are not adequately monitoring their children's activity on social media.
Honestly, it hurts. Whether it's within a group of friends or not, some people are just so harsh with each other. Then others use a child's or someone's photo for bad reasons. Things like that keep happening a lot on Facebook.
Behind these subtle forms of bullying are serious consequences. Children who are excluded may fall into depression, become disengaged from school, and be socially isolated. Over time, this can escalate to the point where they transfer schools or face emotional crises that may lead to harmful decisions. Teachers report that in recent years, students have begun using apps like NGL to blatantly bully one another. NGL Secret Me or some other similar anonymous link apps, they often post those on their stories. The point is that you can send messages anonymously, no one knows who wrote that. And through these secret accounts, they sometimes insult each other, like that class or that person they go off. Teenagers tend to follow the crowd rather than make clear judgments about what is right or wrong. Psychologists warn that if a young person is experiencing emotional distress and cannot find the proper way to cope, there is a high risk they might make poor decisions.
When the ability to make conscious decisions gets lost and they start acting impulsively, engaging in risky behaviors without thinking, it can lead to sudden mood swings, outbursts of anger, unexpected excitement, or even hurting others emotionally.
Sources emphasize that the participation of parents and teachers is crucial in managing bullying, whether it happens openly or in subtle, hidden forms. It is necessary for parents to monitor and guide their children where they are, what they are doing, and who they are interacting and socializing with.
Mongolia is set to cultivate over 655,000 hectares of land this spring as part of nationwide efforts to boost its food security, increase crop variety, and strengthen livestock feed supply. At the recent parliamentary committee meeting, Agriculture Minister Iqbayir Jadam outlined the key plans and investments, including seed reserves, credit support, and soil protection measures.
At the April 8, 2025 meeting of the Standing Committee on Environment, Food and Agriculture of the State Great Khural, the Minister of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry, Iqbayir Jadam, presented a report on the country's preparations for spring sowing. According to the minister, a total of about 655,000 hectares of land will be cultivated this spring. This includes 360,000 hectares of cereals, 20,000 hectares of potatoes, almost 19,000 hectares for vegetables, 141,000 hectares for fodder, just over 103,000 hectares for oilseeds, and about 8,000 hectares for fruits and berries. The cultivation effort aims to strengthen livestock feed supply, diversify crop rotation, and promote export-oriented agriculture. Regarding seed availability, Mongolia currently holds about 45.4 thousand tons of wheat seed reserves. 35,000 tons is stored by agricultural enterprises, 3.5 thousand tons by the state-owned agricultural corporation, and 7,000 tons by commercial seed breeding enterprises. Additionally, 7 agricultural entities have been approved to import 4.3 thousand tons of wheat seed. The minister also noted that 1.4 billion Mongolian tugruks from the state budget has been allocated to supply 360 tons of seeds for 6 types of fodder crops. To further support livestock feed production, the Agricultural Corporation has stockpiled 1,600 tons of seeds in 9 types of fodder crops, which are being distributed on credit. In efforts to combat soil erosion and improve land productivity, 9.7 billion Mongolian tugruks will be used to install 370,000 reinforced concrete poles across provinces with farmland. Furthermore, 1 billion Mongolian tugruks is designated to establish forest strips spanning 102 kilometers across 4 agricultural areas.
Now, let's take a look at Mongolian current affairs.
The Subcommittee on Trade and Investment under the Joint Committee of Mongolia and the European Union held an online meeting on April 8, 2025. At the meeting, the two sides exchanged information on the current economic situation, trade policy, investment environment, and critical raw materials. Representatives of the EU presented a new investment-related initiative, Sustainable Investment Facility Agreement, and provided information on the progress of the Global Gateway Strategy. The Mongolian side provided information on the investment environment of the country and measures to protect foreign investors and agreed to seek opportunities for further collaboration with the EU in agriculture, energy, critical raw materials, and materials sectors. The two sides agreed to increase the utilization of the generalized scheme of preferences and advance the negotiation process on geographical indications. The two parties agreed to organize the first Mongolia-EU Business Forum in Ulaanbaatar in October 2025 and have begun preparations.
Russia and Ukraine reported an intensified military activity on Wednesday, with Moscow claiming strikes on Ukraine weapons facilities and Kyiv asserting it had repelled multiple Russian attacks. As both sides traded accusations, Ukrainian President Zelensky said cross-border operations could help prevent future Russian offensives.
Russia said on Wednesday that its forces had continued to strike Ukrainian military targets, while Ukraine reported the same day that it had repelled multiple Russian attacks. A statement from the Russian Defense Ministry said the Russian troops struck a Ukrainian tactical missile production enterprise, a workshop building producing small bombs for drones and other strategic objectives. Meanwhile, Russian military operations targeted Ukrainian personnel and military equipment in multiple locations, including Kharkov, Donetsk, and Lugansk, while the Russian air defense systems shot down over 300 Ukrainian drones. Furthermore, the ministry accused the Ukrainian government of 4 attacks on Russian energy infrastructure over the past 24 hours. On the same day, the General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that its forces had repelled the Russian attacks in the Pokrovsk direction. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the Russian forces continued to launch operations in the Kharkov and Sumy regions, but Ukrainian military's actions in Russia's border region of Belgorod can prevent the Russian forces from launching new attacks in the Kharkov and Sumy directions. He also noted that in the past 24 hours, Russia launched 55 drones toward targets in Ukraine, with multiple residential areas being attacked and civilian infrastructure suffering severe damage.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We will see you next week with more news and updates. Have a great weekend.